Hi guys, so I'm here to talk about the ending of World Championship of Abstract Games for national teams. It just ended a few days ago, and as you can see, it ended with the win of Team Germany with 23 points on 24 points possible, I guess, because they won everything except a draw against England. And my team, Team France, actually took the second place, tying with England with 21 points both. So with one loss and one draw for both teams. Okay, it's pretty decent result for Team France, but well, I guess Team Germany was just better this year. So it was a really great job for them, and we tried everything, but wasn't enough to beat this wonderful team, to be honest. So well played, Team Germany, and see you next year. Okay, I want to make an overall feedback on the games we played during this World Championship. So this is the detail of the game. So round one, Gamoku, International Roads, Corridors, and Torini. I actually played this round. I didn't play round two, but well, I know Chet's 960, of course, Hex, and I know Abalone, even if I'm not really good at Abalone. I don't know Ponte del Diavolo, so I still don't know it. I played round 3, Blooms, Twix, Pente, Paminondas. I played round 4, Amazons, Go-Next, Frisian, Drones, and Halma. I also played round 5, Shonky, Blockus, Savannah Hive. And I played round 6, Shogi Tumbleweed, Lines of Action. Oh, and I didn't play round 7 and round 8. By the way, almost everybody forfeit round 8, so almost nobody played round 8. So I played 5 rounds, and so I played 20 different games with a really good results from me because I won 18 of my 20 games and lost only 2 games. I lost actually in Halma, I guess. Halma um, is a race game, and my opponent, I guess, won in 50 moves, and I won no in 49 moves, and I won in 50 moves. So it was one move better for him. So I lost. And the other game I lost was Shogi, a game that I really hate, I would say. But I will talk to this just a little later. So well, it was a pretty nice tournament for me, and I really like to discover many of these games. So now I will just make an overall ranking about the games I played and also the games I know. I removed the games that I actually don't know and I didn't play, so I still don't know them. So this is the games I considered. Um, Go Next, Go, Othello, Frisian Drought, Alma, Yankee, Blocus, Havana, Hive, Shogi, Tumbleweed, Lines of Action, Gamoku, Epaminondas, Amazons, International Droughts, Corridors, Santorini, Hex, Chess 960, Abalone, Blooms, Twigs, and Pente. And I will put these games in like amazing, really good, good, medium, low, and bad. And I will try to explain what I am thinking this. It will be done on 2 aspects. First, of course, the game itself, like is the game a really good game? But also, is it a really good game to discover? I mean, some games can be good when you are like an expert, but when you are trying them for the first for your first games, well, the games are actually really bad. So, well, I will try to take these 2 things into account, and I will try to explain. Okay, so um, let's start with maybe. Well, let's start with the. We can start with Go and Connect. So these games are pretty similar, but not exactly the same because Go is a territory game. You need to make a bigger territory than your opponent, and Connect is a game where you're actually trying to connect some sides of on the board. Actually, in Connect, you are playing Go, but the goal is not to make a bigger territory than your opponent. It's to connect two opposite sides. If you connect left to the right or top to the bottom, it will be a win for you. Actually, something is really bizarre in Connect. The fact that uh, it's not decided at the beginning of the game if you need to connect top and bottom or right and left. It means that both players can win connecting left to right or top to bottom, which means that Connect is not really a connection game. It's a kind of connection game, but it's also a race game. Because, for instance, someone can try to connect left to the right on the top of the board, and the opponent can try to connect the left to the right on the bottom of the board. And for instance, you can win by one because you just connect left to the right one move before your opponent can do the same thing. So, well, of course, I will put Go in amazing games. Go is probably, well, one of the most wonderful game, abstract game in the world. So, of course, it's amazing. I'm, I think Connect is really good. It was one of the game I didn't know at all before this tournament, and it was really nice to discover it. Uh, I'm not really sure where I want to put it. It's like I'm not really satisfied, to be honest, with the fact that uh, the sides you need to connect are not fixed at the beginning. I would like to try to play Connect, and we say at the beginning that black is winning if he can connect top and bottom, and white is winning if he can connect left to right. If we say this, now it's a connection game, not a race game, because if you connect left to right, it means that your opponent cannot connect top to bottom because okay, you made a pass, so it's not possible for the opponent to cross your pass, and so you won, and he cannot win. Even if you let him play an infinite time, he cannot make his objective. Okay. Uh, Now, since you can win connecting left to the right or top to the bottom, it's closer to race game. Generally, races game are not really the best, and so this is this is quite annoying to can decide. Okay, I failed to connect left to the bottom, but now I will try to connect right to left. Well, it's something I'm not really sure. I would like to try if the sides were fixed at the beginning. Maybe it could be better. I don't know. Well, the game is still good. It's still good. Maybe even really good. I don't know. I will put it in good. I think it's okay. Okay. Um, what we have? We have Othello. Okay. Othello is another type of game that, to be honest, I don't really like. These games are not really the best ones. It's a parity game because everything is based on parity. It's like you are putting some some stones and you don't want to put some stone at some place, but there is a moment where you're forced to do it, and everything gonna be a question of parity. So I don't think this kind of game is really nice, but it's still a game which is actually original. I mean, um, in Othello, you are just making flip the opponent stones when you are capturing them, and these ones can flip again. Okay, and so they are white, black when they are taken. And it's a kind of game which is quite different from all the other games. And for this reason, I think it's still something good. It's still a game which deserves to be good. Oh, now we have. Okay, we can talk a little about drought, international drought, and we have also Frisian drought. So international drought is the classical drought that everybody know. I think it's a good game. Well, it's a good game. You can enjoy to play drought. I won't talk more about drought because everybody know international drought. In Frisian drought, uh, it's actually almost the same rules that international drought, but you can also take straight. Okay, in international drought, you can capture only diagonally. In Frisian drought, you can take also straight, and it makes the game absolutely crazy. I didn't know this drought variation before, but the game is actually amazing. I think it's even better than drought. I would say Frisian drought is really good. Well, it's not an amazing game, but it's really good. It's really something that you should try. If if you if you like droughts, you can say you really should try Frisian. It's really amazing. It's really something crazy. It's like it's crazy. You can capture everywhere. You need to be careful every time. If you miss one thing, it's like you can lose everything. It's it's really something you should try. Okay, we had Halma. Halma is like how we can say this. It's Chinese roads, maybe another name of Halma. Well, it's a game where you start in a corner and you need to put all your pieces in the opposite corner, and your opponent starting in the opposite corner and need to put all his pieces in your corner. Well, to be honest, the game is not really good. It's not really good. It's like, well, first, it's a race game. You need to make an objective just faster than your opponent. It's you don't have some really nice concept in the game. It's well, it's slow. It's like I I don't see how this game could have. I mean, a good community. Uh, I don't see I don't see players being really interested in playing Halma. I don't think the game is enough deep. Well, then we have Shanky. Shanky. Do you know what is Shanky? Shanky is Chinese chess. Uh, I'll be honest, I didn't know Shanky. I didn't know the rules before this tournament. Actually, I didn't know the rules about Shanky. Well, it was amazing. It was really amazing. It was really amazing uh, because you have some really nice concepts in Shanky. Actually, you have the fact um, first that the knights are not really symmetric. It means that the knights sometimes a knight can take another knight, but the other knight cannot take the previous knight. I mean, it's not really symmetric. The moves of the knight are a little different from the one in classic chess. But the really nice thing you have in Shanky are the cannons. You have two pieces in Shanky which are actually called the cannons, and the cannons are this one. They are moving like a rook, okay, but they are capturing jumping, but they need to jump. It's like to take something, you need to jump over a piece and take another one. So, for instance, well, if you are just close to another piece, you cannot capture them because you need another piece between these two pieces to take the other one. And this is making the game really crazy. And I can say that I love Shonky. And I would say the game is really amazing. I think it's something deep. It's something really interesting. It's something really nice. I would say if you never played Shanky and you you like chess, you really should try it. On the other hand, we can talk about shogi, which is actually Japanese chess. Shogi is, to be honest, probably the worst game I ever played. It's something like I would put in bad, but directly. It's probably the thing I hate the most in all the list. It's a game which is absolutely not well equilibrated. It's a game where it's only fire everywhere. It's like when PCs are captured, then they are dropped somewhere on the board. So when you capture an opponent piece, then you can drop it in your side. So you have some pieces that are dropped everywhere, dropped on the other king, and you cannot stop anything on the board because the pawn, they are moving like in chess, but they are also capturing straight. They are not capturing diagonally like in classical chess. They are capturing straight. So pawns cannot be stopped. So you cannot fix the board. You cannot fix anything. It's like everything is going on like this, and you have some fire everywhere, and you cannot do anything. Probably shogi can be an interesting game when you are an expert of the game. But what I can tell is when you are discovering the game, this is probably the most stupid game I've ever seen. It's like I cannot see any game in this list which is most ridiculous than this one. but I'm pretty sure that this is because uh, I was discovering the game. Probably when you played 100 shogi games, then maybe uh, the game starts to be interesting. But as a beginner, I would say don't start with shogi. Play just something else. Everything is better. Um, we could talk about in a row games. So we have Pente and Gomoku. We can start with Gomoku. Gomoku is the most beautiful in a row game, but he has big a big default. Okay, I will explain. Gomoku is just you play and you need to make a 5 in a row to win, and that's all. You don't have other rules. But the problem is the game is not deep enough when you play it like this. So they added another rules, which is called swap 2 to initiate the game. It means that the first player is playing 3 stones, two black probably and a white, and then the other player need to decide if he want to play as black or as white, or he can add a black and a white stone, so it makes 5 stones on the board, and then the first player will decide if he want to play as black or as white. The problem of this is that everything in the game is contained in the opening, in these 5 first stones. And so if you're a beginner and you don't know by heart what you need to do during the swap, the game is broken. It's like, okay, but it's too late already. I remember something, like a few years ago, I saw some amazing Gomoku player playing some Blitz, and they were playing, I guess, in 7 minutes per player. The first player put 3 stones. He prepared this at home, of course. The second player used 6 minutes on the 7 to add 1 white stone and white black stone. Then it was back to the first player, and he used also 6 minutes to decide if he wants to play as black or as white. So finally, just after the swap, the game really started, and both players had 1 minute instead of 7. It means how important the opening is. and this is making the game not so good. It's sad because the, the pureness of the game is really nice, but because of this swap, which make that everything in the game is contained in the opening, it makes that the game is not so nice. So I will say it's still a good game, but no more because of this. And we have Pente. Pente is a game uh, which is like Gomoku, but you can capture some stones, and you win if you make a 5 in a row, but also if you capture 10 stones to the opponent. And you capture actually the stones 2 by 2. It's like if you have 2 stones in a row, if you play on both sides of these 2 stones, it's like, you have 2 stones like this. If you play there and there, you're gonna remove the 2 stones between your stones. Okay. Um, the problem is you are playing an in a row game where you are removing some stones, and then the game is not as pure as Gamoku is. The game is not as beautiful as Gamoku is. So, well, let's say it's still medium, but not better than this. Okay, so what do we have in the list? We have Tumbleweed. I would like to talk about Tumbleweed. I made a video to talk about Tumbleweed, which amazing game it is. To be honest, Tumbleweed is not a game which is actually old. Okay, it was created by Michel Tapala a few years ago, and it's really, to be honest, uh, a maestro move from Michel. It's this game is something amazing. It's like, I played so many abstract games, and what I can tell you is when you are creating an abstract games, it's really easy to do it. It's really, really easy to create an abstract games. Abstract games are the most easiest game to be created. But your game will be bad. It's like this. It's easy to create, okay? But then the game is bad. It's always like this. Sometimes the game is maybe low or medium. It's almost impossible to create a great abstract games. It's really, really hard. It's easy to create one, but it's almost impossible to create one which is good. And Tumbleweed is not good. Tumbleweed is amazing. Tumbleweed is one of the best games I've ever played in my life. And it's really something crazy. If you need to try one, try this one. It's something really, really amazing. It's a territory game, but you can watch the video. But the thing is, in Tumbleweed, you cannot play everywhere on the board. The places where you can play depend of the actual stones you have on the board. Okay, well, you are playing stacks in Tumbleweed, but it means that it depends on where you are on the board, where you can play on the board. And this concept is really, really nice. Well, you should try Tumbleweed. um, well, of course, Twixt is absolutely amazing as X. The two main connection games in the world, Twixt and X, are just one of the best games I've ever seen, and are also one of my main games, one of my best games. Uh, well, I made several videos about Twixt and Hex, and they are really amazing. Okay, let's see. Okay, I could talk about Epaminondas. Well, this is typically, well, you created an abstract game. It's not bad, but it's like I I don't see anybody play this. I mean, I cannot see how you could have a big community behind a game like this. You can watch the video when I play the Epaminondas, but I, I don't believe in this game. I will put it in low with Hanma. Well, I think it's maybe, well, no, it deserves to be there. Okay, what we have? We have Avena. Okay, Avena, I will put this in medium. Avena is a race game. It's thing where you need to achieve a goal before your opponent. Okay. Um, I probably already made some videos about Avena, but well, it's typically a correct game, but no more. Um, oh, you have Blockus. Blockus is, of course, one of these amazing games that I love. Um, Blockus is really famous in the world. I mean, Blockus is a game which is actually really famous. But generally, uh, if you are you can buy the game. I mean, physically on the internet or somewhere. But it's the four-player version. Here, I'm talking about the two-players version. You have only two colors. I think it's orange and purple, and the game is really amazing, better than the one with four players. Okay, so what do we have? What do you think about the Chase 960? Well, I believe Chase 960 is a really nice game. Probably, probably really good, I would say. I won't put it in amazing because I think it's still hard today for Chess 960 to be considered as a really, really amazing game. And you don't have many players that are actually playing Chess 960. Maybe because the game is not as pure as chess, but it it still has uh, something for him. Like you can remove the question of openings that players already actually known by heart. Like during 20 moves, we are playing always the same thing. In chess 960, you don't have it. You don't have this, and it's quite good. Okay. What we have? You have Hive. Hmm. Hive. Hmm. Well, it's Hive is still a game which is original. You don't have many games that are like Hive, um, but I will put it in good only because I think the game is not deep enough. But the thing is, you have an extension in Hive. Okay, if we are talking about Hive with extension, then I would like to put it in really good because with the extension, the game uh, is is deep. So, well, I will put it in good because I'm just talking about Hive, but with the expansion, I would like to put it in really good. Okay, let's see. We have Santorini. Santorini. Well, this is one of these races game. I will put this in medium. Not so good, not so bad, but well, not better than this. Okay, we have Blooms. Okay, Blooms is one of these games I discovered during this championship. It was good actually. It was a good game. It was a really good game, but also I'm not sure it's a game which has the power to be really famous. I don't see a big community playing this. I will put it in good because I think it's better than these 6 games, but not better than this. Okay, now we have the 4 last games. Um, okay, we have Abalone. Abalone is a game also which is really original. You have no games which are actually close to Abalone. But there is a big problem in the Abalone game. Many of the Abalone games are actually draw because players are just playing some moves, but we are not seeing the end of the game. It's like, okay, players are moving, but and that's it. Nobody is winning, except of course if something is losing, if someone is losing by time, which is a big problem for me in Abalone. Too many games between strong players are just a draw because of this, and it's a problem. I don't think the issue of the game should be like this to just play something, and nothing is happening. So this is why I will put it in good. I I could put this in really good, but well, I think it's more in his place with this one. Oh, now we have some really good games that are actually there. Um, I guess I will put Corridor. Huh. I will put it there. Corridor is also like a kind of parity game, a kind, but there is a concept which is so original, it deserves to be on the top. It's close to be amazing. In Corridor, I made some videos about Corridor. The thing is, in Corridor, okay, you are trying to block your opponent, put it some walls or something, okay, but the idea is it's not allowed in the rules to block completely the opponent. It means that you want to block him, but it's not allowed to do it completely. It means that the goal will be to um, to block him enough so that you're gonna win before him. Okay, and it's a question of finally shortest path. You want that your pawn has a shortest path than the opponent pawn to the winning place. Okay, but you cannot block him in a corner and say, okay, it's not possible for him now for you now to win. No, you cannot do this because it's not allowed. And the fact that it's not allowed to block completely someone creates some amazing strategies. So I would say that it's a really good game. I'm not really good at this kind of game. It's like, close to parity game, but also it's a race game. It's in these games, generally I'm not the best, but well, I still can say that it's a really good one. Amazon is also a really good one. It's a territory game, which is actually really nice. Really, really nice. I will put it only in really good and not in amazing because there is a little problem in Amazons, the fact that the first player has a really big advantage. And I don't like these games where the first player has a really big advantage. It's a little sad. Probably we could find something like a pie rule or something, but I don't know what, but to reduce the impact of starting. White is starting in Amazon, and white has a really easier game than black. And finally, Lines of Action, of course, an amazing game, amazing game. Um, Lines of Action is quite special because it's a connection game. You need to connect all your pieces to win, but it's also a race game because everybody can connect all his pieces. Like I connect all my pieces on the bottom, you connect all your pieces on the top, and maybe I will achieve my goal just one move before you. So it's a race game, but also you can capture. Okay, you can capture some pieces. But when you capture a piece to your opponent, is it good or not? Maybe it's a key piece for him, so that it's good for you to capture it. But when you capture a piece to your opponent, then it's easier for him in terms of number of pieces to connect everything because he has less pieces to connect. Okay, so it makes like this a game which is really really nice. Well, uh, this would be my classification of the games I discovered and I know uh, in this World Championship of Abstract Games for national teams. Well, this was my feedback. Um, if you want to discover some of these games, I would say, let's go, guys. Okay, bye bye, ciao.